CPG brands have one massive advantage over any other type of e-commerce business. Your product runs out. That might sound obvious, but most CPG brands completely waste this advantage when it comes to email marketing. They treat email the same way a fashion brand or a furniture brand would. Generic welcome flows, random campaigns, maybe a discount here and there, and they wonder why the repeat purchase rate is stuck at 20%. But here's the thing, when your product is consumable, email marketing works fundamentally differently. The entire strategy should be built around one specific goal: getting customers to reorder as many times as possible, as fast as possible. Over the past few years, we've generated over $50 million in email revenue for e-commerce brands. A huge portion of those CPG brands. Supplements, beverages, skincare, pet food, coffee, you name it. And the strategy I'm about to share with you separates CPG brands doing okay with email from the ones generating millions. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the entire email marketing strategy built specifically for CPG brands, from list growth all the way to subscription conversion and reducing churn. So this is not going to be generic advice you can find anywhere. This is the playbook. So let's get into it. So everything starts with your pop-up. And for CPG brands specifically, the offer you put on that pop-up is by far the biggest lever you have for growing your email list. Not the design, not the copy, not the triggers, the offer. And yet most brands just pick one offer and just set it and forget it. They throw out a 10% off your first order and never test anything else. That is a huge mistake because the difference between a pop-up converting at 4% and one converting at 8% is massive, especially for a CPG brand. That's potentially thousands of extra leads every single month flowing into your welcome flow, your campaigns, and then also eventually your replenishment reminders. So your job here is to constantly A/B test different offers and see which one converts the best. And for CPG brands, there are 4 main offers you should be testing in your pop-up. First one is the percentage off. This is by far the most common one. So 10, 15, 20% your first order. It works well for lower AOV products because the discount feels proportional. If your product is $30, a 15% off your first order is a pretty clear and just easy to understand incentive. Next one is the flat dollar discount. So $5, $10, $20 off first order. These tend to outperform percentage discounts for higher AOV products. If your average order value is $80 or more, $15 off feels more tangible than 15% off, even when the math is pretty similar. Next, we've got the free gift with purchase. This one is massively underutilized by CPG brands, and it's one of my favorites, to be honest. Offer a free sample, a travel size product, or a bonus item with the first order. It works for 2 reasons. First one, the word free is incredibly powerful. Second one, and this is the CPG specific advantage, it introduces the customer to a second product, which means when they come back to reorder, they are way more likely to buy 2 products instead of 1. That's higher AOV and higher LTV from day one. Final one, we've got the mystery discount. So this one plays on curiosity, like sign up to reveal your mystery discount. So the customer doesn't really know they're getting 10, 20, whatever it is, until they opt in, sometimes way higher sign-up rates. It's not always the winner, but when it works really well. Now, here's the critical thing most brands miss when A/B testing different offers on their pop-ups. You cannot only look at opt-in rate, sign-up rate. You must also track the lead to conversion or conversion rate of your pop-ups as well. That means the percentage of people who signed up but eventually also place an order. Why does this matter? Because some offers will get a super high sign-up rate, but the lead to conversion rate will be super low, meaning you'll get a ton of people who are not looking to buy from you, so low buying intent. Giveaway offers are notorious for this. You might see your opt-in rate jump to 10%, but if your lead to conversion rate drops to 2%, you're actually worse off than a 5% opt-in rate or 6% opt-in rate with a 5% lead to conversion rate. The goal here is to maximize sign-up rates while improving or at least maintaining your lead to conversion rate. That's the real metric that drives revenue. Not just how many emails you collect, but how many of those emails turn into paying customers. Okay, now that your pop-up is dialed in and you're capturing as many high intent leads as possible, your welcome flow should do one thing above everything else: convert them into a paying customer as quickly as possible. For CPG brands, speed matters more than for most categories. Why? Because in CPG, products tend to have a lower price point and also lower switching costs. If someone signed up and they don't buy within the first 24 to 48 hours, they're very likely to forget about you or buy from a competitor. This is why the first email in your welcome flow is arguably the most important email in your entire Klaviyo structure. It's where the majority of conversions happen. After that, there's a huge drop-off. So email 1 needs to be that simple. Deliver the incentive from the pop-up, make the CTA crystal clear. Don't overthink the design or overload it with brand content. The goal is to get them to use the code right now. After that, here's the structure we use for CPG brands. The email number 1 is the incentive delivery, so trigger immediately after they sign up. Clear CTA, deliver the discount code or offer. Don't overcomplicate this one, plain and simple. The email number 2 is where you introduce your values, your brand, your mission, and what makes your products better than what they're currently using. For CPG, this often comes down to ingredients, sourcing, taste, formulation, or sustainability. Whatever your strongest differentiator is, lead with it. Next email, we've got the social proof. So testimonials, reviews, before and afters, UGC. The goal here is to get anyone who's on the fence over the line. You just want to have as much credible social proof as possible here. This makes a huge difference. Okay, next, 4th email is the product education plus bestsellers. So here, showcase your top products and explain what makes each one great. For CPG, this is also where you can introduce bundles. So like most of our customers start with this starter pack or our best-selling duo or best-selling trio. This actually helps reduce decision fatigue. Now, the next email is all about last chance plus objection handling. So here's the final reminder for the incentive. Also, make sure you answer the top 3 to 5 questions that you get asked the most. Like, for example, for supplements, it'd be like, is it safe? How long until I see results? What if it doesn't work? For skincare, it'd be, will this work for my skin type? Is it fragrance-free? Just kill the hesitation here. All right, so your welcome flow converts first-time buyers. Now what? This is where CPG email strategy diverges completely from every other type of e-commerce vertical. Because for you, the money is not in the first sale. It's in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 10th sale. And the flows that drive those repeat purchases are the real engine of your email revenue. Let me walk you through the 3 most important ones. The first one is the post-purchase sequence. So this flow triggers right after someone places an order. And for CPG brands, it needs to do 3 things. First one, reduce buyer's remorse, especially for first-time customers. Show them success stories, what to expect, and reassure them they made the right choice. Second is educate them on how to use your product. This is critical for CPG. If someone buys your supplement but doesn't know how to use it and don't get results, they're not coming back. Product education directly impacts your repeat purchase rate. Third, cross-sell while trust is still high. After they've received the product and have had a few days with it, introduce complementary products with urgency. If they bought your protein powder, you can recommend some creatine. If they bought the face cleanser, you can recommend a serum, for instance. Now, the flow number 2 is the replenishment flow. This is the flow that makes CPG email marketing so powerful. It triggers based on when the customer is expected to run out of the product, and it reminds them to reorder before that happens. The timing here is everything. Use your purchase data to figure out what the average reorder window is. If your product lasts 30 days, you can hit them with the first email on day 25. Follow up on day 30 and day 35 with increasing urgency. And also, every single email in this flow should pitch the subscription. So like, never run out again. Subscribe and save. This is the highest intent moment to make that offer. Third flow is the win-back flow. Some customers will churn no matter what you do. That's normal, right? But a lot of those customers can be recovered with the right approach. So for CPG brands, like the customer win-back should be triggered based on when they made the last purchase. This is typically 60 to 120 days, depending on your product lifecycle. And here, pretty simple, email number 1 is a soft check-in. So haven't seen you in a while type stuff. Show them new products, bestsellers, or what's changed since they last But email number 2 ramps up urgency. You can include here an incentive and strong social proof. And then email number 3 typically is the last chance. Heavy urgency, clear deadline on the offer. You can also segment by customer value. So for instance, your VIPs who stop ordering deserve a bigger offer and more personal messaging than a one-time buyer who purchased once 6 months ago. Now, if you're a CPG brand and you want all of this built out for you, from the pop-up to the flows to the campaigns, that's exactly what we specialize in. We've worked with CPG brands across supplements, skincare, coffee, pet food, and more, and we would love to do the same for you. So book a call using the link below and let's see how we can help. Now, flows run on autopilot, which is great. But campaigns are what keep your brand live in your customers' inboxes between purchases. And for CPG brands, the campaign strategy needs to be different from a fashion brand or a durable good brand. Because your goal is not only to sell, it's to build a habit. You want your customers to associate your products with their daily routine. Their morning coffee ritual, their nightly skincare routine, their post-workout recovery, whatever it is. When your product becomes part of someone's identity and daily life, they just don't need convincing to reorder. They just do. And your campaigns are the tool that builds that association. Here's the content mix that works really well for CPG brands. First, we've got the education bucket, which should be around 30% of your content. So here you can teach your customers how to get the most out of your products. Routine tips, common mistakes, science behind ingredients, dosage guides, recipes if applicable. This positions your brand as the expert and makes your products feel more valuable. Next, we've got the social proof bucket, which should be around 20% of your content. So here, customer stories, reviews, UGC before and afters, PR as well. For CPG, results-driven proof is extremely important, is pretty much king. If someone sees a real person saying your supplements change their energy levels, that's way more powerful than any ad. Okay, next we've got the lifestyle and community content. That's the bucket number 3, and this should be around 20% of your content. So this is content that connects your products to a bigger identity. If you sell a health supplement, talk about wellness routines, not just the pill. If you sell coffee, talk about the morning ritual. So essentially build a world around your products, not just transactions. Next, we've got the product highlights and new releases, which should be around 15 to 20% of your content as well. So here, spotlight specific products, introduce new flavors or formulations. You can showcase bundles as well. A lot of customers only know the one SKU they bought from you. And so campaigns are how you expand their basket pretty much. Okay, final one. So we've got the promotional content. So here should be around 15% of your content. So here, sales, flash deals, subscriber only offers. These definitely have a place, but for the most part, they should be a minority of your entire campaign strategy. If every email you send is a discount, a promo, you basically train your audience to wait for sales. And for CPG brands specifically, that kills your margins and your subscription retention. Also, make sure you mix in some plain text founder emails regularly. They cut through the noise, they feel personal, and tend to have great engagement and deliverability as well. Aim for 3 to 4 campaigns a week, consistent enough so you essentially stay top of mind, but not so frequent that you burn people out. Okay, now let's talk about turning one-time buyers into subscribers, because this is the ultimate endgame for CPG brands. The reason why is that a subscriber is by far the most valuable customer you can have. They buy automatically, they churn less, and they tend to have, or they have way higher LTV. And they give you predictable recurring revenue every single month that lets you plan and scale with confidence. And I don't know why, but a lot of CPG brands tend to treat their subscriptions as an afterthought. They put a small subscribe and save button on their product page, and that's pretty much it. Email is where you actively convert one-time buyers into subscribers. And this should be implemented into multiple touch points across your entire email funnel. Here's where the subscription pitch or push should live. First, in your post-purchase flow. After the customer has received the product and has had time to use it, you can introduce the subscription. And you can just frame it around convenience and savings. Like, loved it, never run out, subscribe and save 15% on every order. Next, we've got in your replenishment flow. And this is probably the highest intent moment because they're literally about to reorder the same product. So why not automate this is a pretty natural and low risk or low friction ask. Next, we've got in your campaigns. So here I'm talking about dedicated campaigns that actually sell the subscription lifestyle, if you will. Not just subscribe and save, but like why 90% of our customers subscribe after the first order, or what it's like being a subscriber for 6 months. So you can just basically make it feel like a club and not a contract. And then we've got in your win back flows. For some churn customers, these subscriptions could be the thing that actually brings them back. Like, we noticed you haven't already ordered, want to make sure this never slips your mind again. And once someone is subscribed, your job shifts from selling to retaining. Send pre-charge reminders 3 to 5 days before renewal, so you can just make them feel they're in charge. Let them know they can skip, pause, or swap anytime. Also, make sure you celebrate milestones. Like, you've been with us for 3 months, here's a free gift in your next box. Something like that works really well. And the brands that do this well and consistently don't just have subscribers, they have an actual community. And their community is what actually makes them pretty much impossible to compete with. And so that's the complete email marketing strategy for CPG brands. So to recap, capture leads with high buying intent with a great offer on your pop-up, convert them fast with a welcome flow built for speed, drive repeat purchases with your post-purchase, replenishment reminder, and customer win-back flows, keep your mind top of mind with a campaign calendar that builds habit, and convert your best customers into subscribers for predictable recurrent revenue. Every one of these pieces fits the next. The pop-up improves the welcome flow drives the first purchase, the post-purchase flow drives the second, the replenishment reminder automates the third, and the subscription pitch locks it in. That's the flywheel, and once it's spinning, it compounds. Now, if you want to go deeper on any specific part of this, I would start with the replenishment flow. That's because that's the most unique and highest impact flow for CPG brands specifically. I made a full video breaking it down email by email. Watch you next, and I'll see you there.